Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We begin from the State House where President Bola Tinubu has again declared his intention to seek a second term in office, insisting that rising insecurity will not force him out of office. The president made this known while receiving Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang and other stakeholders, stating he remains resolute despite criticism. He maintained that his administration is supporting security agencies to tackle threats and restore stability nationwide. A federal high court in Abuja has restrained the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) from recognizing congresses organized by a disputed faction of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) leadership. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik ruled that the caretaker body lacks constitutional authority to conduct such congresses or interface with elected state executives. The decision reinforces internal party democracy and may shape control of the party structures ahead of future political activities. Meanwhile, a strong wave of advocacy has hit the nation's capital as women's groups intensify pressure on the National Assembly for the passage and the special seats has hit the nation's capital as women's groups intensify pressure on the National Assembly for the passage of the Special Seats Bill aimed at increasing female representation in governance. The Coalition of Nigerian Women staged a peaceful protest and petition drive in Abuja demanding urgent legislative action on the bill. Samuel Odi reports.
Scores of women from various organizations marched to the National Assembly, insisting on immediate attention to what they described as a long-standing imbalance in political representation. The demonstrators, under the Coalition of Nigerian Women, submitted a formal petition urging lawmakers to fast-track the passage of Special Seats Bill. Coalition leader Irene says the bill is not a privilege, but a corrective measure needed to generate fair and inclusive representation across all levels of government.
I am here today to formally submit all the petitions that we have collected across Nigeria. 3 weeks ago, we went to every constituency office and houses of House of Rep members to submit a petition demanding an immediate passage of the Special Seats Bill.
The national president of the National Council of Women's Society, Edna, called on lawmakers to show urgency and political will in addressing the demand. Edna noted that protests reflect growing frustration among Nigerian women, stressing that national development cannot be achieved without inclusive leadership. She urged the National Assembly to act swiftly and ensure the bill is passed without delay.
Other countries have passed that stage, like Rwanda. They are about 67% now, of which Nigerian women, we don't even want to go that far. Let us get the 35% and above, but now we are about just 4% representation in Nigeria, and it's not healthy for the entire nation.
With mounting pressure from women's group and formal petition before lawmakers, all eyes are now on the National Assembly on the fifth of Special Seats Bill, which, if it gets through, could reshape women's participation in Nigerians' political space. Samuel Odi, Global TV News.
Former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi says his closed-door meeting with former President Goodluck Jonathan focused on Nigeria's future amidst ongoing political consultations ahead of the 2027 general election. He made the disclosure in a post on X shortly after the meeting, stressing that Nigeria's current challenges demand stronger collaboration among leaders across regional lines. Anita Patrick completes the report.
Obi, who led a delegation of Southeast leaders to Jonathan's residence, described the engagement as productive, noting that discussions were centered on national unity, security, stability, and inclusive governance. According to him, the country is facing worsening economic hardship, insecurity, and social divisions, making it necessary for leaders to come together to consult and act in the national interest. Obi also emphasized that Nigeria needs leadership driven by competence, character, capacity, and compassion rather than personal ambition.
On 2027 elections, and overall about Nigeria, the Southeast leaders, and you can see all of us here. See him in the categories we have gone to see former President Obasanjo, former President Babangida, former President. So that is the category we are seeing him now. They are not defecting. They are fathers now. They are not defecting. They are not involved. But we need to consult them because, especially someone like him, who served the country very faithfully, focused, and did what is expected of democracy. In this declining situation, you consult him. No, that wasn't even in discussion. And you know I'm contesting, so I wouldn't be pleading for the third candidate. I just came for consultation of the 2027 election.
He further called for a shift in Nigeria's economic direction from consumption to production, arguing that the nation must fully harness its human and natural resources for development. Looking ahead, Obi described the 2027 general elections as a defining moment for the country, urging that it should be about improving education, supporting entrepreneurs, and building a secure and functional nation. Anieti Patrick, Global TV News.
The Senate has stressed the need to address gaps in national public health emergency preparedness and response following a confirmed case of COVID-19 in Cross River State. Senator Ipalibo Banigo, Rivers West Senatorial District, while speaking on motion of national importance, posited that Section 19 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, imposes the duty on all tiers of government to ensure the security and welfare of the people, including protection of public health. National Assembly correspondent Anieti Patrick reports.
Senator Ipalibo Banigo disclosed that a confirmed case of COVID-19 has been reported in Rivers State involving a 53-year-old foreign national who entered the country on 17th of March 2026. She urged the Senate to direct the Federal Ministry of Health and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention to intensify its surveillance, testing, contact tracing in line with the National Outbreak Preparedness and Response Protocols.
Imposes a duty on all tiers of government to ensure the security and welfare of the people, including protection of public health. Accordingly, resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention to intensify surveillance, testing, contact tracing in line with the National Outbreak Preparedness and Response Protocols.
The motion was unanimously supported by other senators who called on the Federal Ministry of Finance and National Planning to expedite release of funds and consider activation of urgency finance mechanism. In his remarks, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jibrin Barau, lauded the initiative of Senator Banigo and urged the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare as well as the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention to intensify protection and surveillance, testing, contact tracing in line with national preparedness and response protocols.
All the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, to intensify surveillance, testing, contact tracing in line with the National Outbreak Preparedness and Response Protocols.
The Senate further called on government to strengthen sub-national outbreak preparedness system through improved financing and timely procurement of essential supply and enhanced support for surveillance and rapid response structures. From the National Assembly, Aniette Patrick, Global TV News.
High Court in Abuja has granted protection to a prosecution witness in the ongoing coup plot trial. Justice Joyce Abdulmalik approved the application following a request by the prosecution counsel Rotimi Oyedepo, citing security risk to the witness. The trial involves 6 defendants facing charges including treason, terrorism, and money laundering. In the meantime, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission (NIDCOM) has raised alarm over worsening xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa. Chairman of the commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, called on South African authorities to take urgent action to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians and other nationals in the country. The commission warned that continued violence and profiling could further strain diplomatic relations between both countries. The National Universities Commission has granted full accreditation status to 6 undergraduate programs at Sule Lamido University, strengthening the institution's academic standing. A statement signed by the head of public relations of the university, Sadiq Lawal, stated that the accredited programs include BSc Agriculture with specializations in crop science, soil and land management, animal science, and agricultural economic and extension under the Faculty of Agriculture and Natural Resource Management. The approval was conveyed in a letter dated April 4, 2026 and signed by the Director of Accreditation, Abraham Chundusu. President Bola Tinubu has approved land allocations for ambassadors designate in Abuja to strengthen diplomatic engagement. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, disclosed this during a meeting with envoys led by Permanent Secretary Dunoma Umar Ahmed. The move is expected to deepen international partnerships and enhance Nigeria's diplomatic presence. Moving on to Imo State, where Governor Hope Uzodinma has called for renewed hope among Nigerians and stronger collaboration between the church and government. The governor made the call when the Catholic Diocese of Okigwe celebrated the 25th Episcopal anniversary of Bishop Solomon Amatu. The event held at the Immaculate Conception Cathedral attracted clerics, government officials, and worshippers from across the region. Amarachi Ibe reports.
At the Thanksgiving Mass, marking the Silver Jubilee celebration of Bishop Amatu's Episcopal ordination, Governor Hope Uzodinma describes the Catholic prelate as a visionary and unifying figure whose leadership has contributed significantly to the growth of the diocese over the past 25 years.
Because this is a man of vision, a man of courage, a compassionate personality who is interested in peace, development, and the prosperity of our people. He is God-fearing, and his capacity for organization and humanity is unprecedented.
Governor Uzodinma also urged Nigerians not to lose hope, expressing optimism that the nation would overcome its current challenges and assume its rightful leadership role in Africa. He further stressed the importance of synergy between religious institutions and government, noting that sustainable development can only be achieved through unity, cooperation, and shared responsibility. The governor reaffirmed his administration's commitment to partnering with the church in promoting peace, moral values, and social stability across the state.
Responsibility of deploying a constructive collaboration with the government. Because the job before the church and the job before the government, it is only through appropriate synergy that the results will be manifest.
In his homily, Cardinal Okereke charged the faithful to remain steadfast in their faith and continue to promote unity within both the church and the wider society.
Leading everything to follow Jesus is not just about material things, my brothers and sisters. Indeed, detachment is the rudimentary stage. It is the first step in Christian discipleship. Detachment is the consequence of attachment to Christ and to the values of the kingdom. Encounter with Christ by this nature demands self-emptying or death to self, so that Christ can live in us.
The 25th Episcopal anniversary of Bishop Solomon Amatu underscores the enduring role of faith, unity, and partnership in advancing both spiritual growth and societal development. From Immaculate Conception Cathedral, Okigwe, I'm Marachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast plus business, foreign, and sports stories. On the other side of this break, please stay with us.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the weather forecast. It's been quite an active past 24 hours in the southern region of the country, especially in the southwestern states, where storms lingered into the early hours of the morning, bringing about significant rainfall, with Ibadan in Oyo State recording an impressive amount of 115.7 millimeters of rain. Now let's look ahead to Thursday. If you're in the coastal cities of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Lagos, and Taraba states, keep an eye out for morning thunderstorms. Other parts of the country will remain relatively calm to start the day. But as the day progresses, these thunderstorm activities will build once again in the southern region of the country, to include parts of Kogi, Kwara, Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, Benue, Plateau, extending to parts of Kaduna, Adamawa, and Taraba states. Other parts of the north will remain mostly sunny throughout the day. That's the forecast. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome back from that break, and now to business, where the Senate has approved a $516 million syndicated loan request to fund the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway project. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, Senator Aliyu Omako, presented the report recommending its inclusion in the federal borrowing plan. Lawmakers say the project will boost connectivity, reduce travel time, and strengthen economic activities across regions. Meanwhile, the Senate has passed the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Amendment Bill for second reading, setting the stage for a major overhaul of police funding and operations. The proposed bill, sponsored by Senate leader Gbemi Bamidele, seeks to repeal the existing 2019 law and establish a more robust framework to finance and support the Nigerian police force. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
Senator Bamidele described the bill as a critical response to persistent challenges in policing, including poor funding, outdated equipment, and weak infrastructure and low personnel morale. He noted that rising threats such as insurgency, kidnapping, and cybercrime require a modern, well-equipped police force. He further stated that the key provision of the bill is proposed increase in statutory allocation to the Police Trust Fund from 0.5% to 1% revenue from the Federation account, adding that the funding model will also draw from grants, private sector contributions, and government interventions.
Without security, governance collapses, economic growth stagnates, and social cohesion deteriorates across our nation today.
The bill, however, generates several concerns from lawmakers over the implications of the increase, transparency, and accountability in managing the fund. Senator Abdul Ningi, representing Bauchi Central, wanted that multiple statutory deductions could significantly reduce funds available for sharing among tiers of government. Senator Abba Moro, the Senate's minority leader, backed the bill, stressing that poor funding has left police officers outmatched by criminals.
Mr. President, when you look at number 4 on the submission of the Senate leader, 1% of total revenue accruing to the federation account. That's really huge. In addition, allocated development levies under relevant tax laws, which you had passed recently. These are statutory allocations.
Mr. President, you will recall that one of the problems associated with policing in Nigeria is the fact of lack of adequate funding.
Also speaking on the urgency and weighing in on the legal framework, Senator Mohammed Mongono, the chief whip, said the proposal remains constitutional if backed by the Act of the National Assembly. The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, in his reaction, emphasized that the bill goes beyond funding, aiming to address structural inefficiencies in the administration of the trust fund. He assured that strict oversight would be put in place to ensure transparency and prevent misuse. The bill was subsequently referred to the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, which is expected to report back within 2 weeks.
Any act, the Section 80 says, any act passed in line with Section 81 of the Constitution. Now, listen to Section 81.
With strong argument on both sides, the bill now moves to the Senate's Committee on Police Affairs for further scrutiny as lawmakers weigh the urgent need to strengthen policing against concerns over funding pressures and accountability. From the National Assembly, Annie T. Patrick, Global TV News.
Nusrat al-Islam wal-Muslimin JNMI has threatened to impose a blockade on all routes leading into Mali's capital, Bamako. Transitional President Assimi Goïta addressed the nation, insisting the situation remains under control despite escalating attacks. The development signals a deepening security crisis with potential regional and humanitarian implication. Over now to the United States, where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has faced lawmakers under oath for the first time since the Iran war began. Pete Hegseth told Congress that the proposed $1.5 trillion defense budget reflects urgency of ongoing military operations. Officials say the war has already cost the United States about $25 billion, with calls for sustained defense investment. And now to the Middle East, where Palestinian Health Ministry says at least 5 people have been killed and 7 wounded by Israeli attacks across Gaza in the last 24 hours. It's added that since the start of the ceasefire in October, 823 people have been killed and 2,308 wounded. Now, since Israel launched its genocidal war on Gaza in October 2023, 72,599 people have been killed and 172,411 wounded across the besieged enclave. And now talking sport, where FIFA has introduced new rules that could see players receive red cards for actions linked to racism at the World Cup. FIFA President Gianni Infantino endorsed the decision following recommendations by International Football Association Board. The changes also include sanctions for teams abandoning matches, reinforcing efforts to uphold discipline and fairness. The National Sports Commission has charged Team Nigeria to deliver outstanding performances at the 2026 World Athletics Relays scheduled from May 2 to 3 in Gaborone, Botswana. Speaking ahead of the team's departure, the NSC Director General Bukola Olokbade urged the athletes to remain disciplined, united and focused, noting that the competition offers another opportunity for Nigeria to reaffirm its status in global athletics. Nigeria will compete in all 6 relay events at the championship, having secured approval from the World Athletics to enter a full program after initially qualifying in 3 disciplines. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and StarTimes, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms, now showing on your screen. using our Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Saying a very big thank you for watching.